Greetings, Starfighter. You have been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Zur and the Kodan Armada. Get ready? Prepare for blast off.
Your fortress of solitude.
Greetings, program.
Glad you're alive.
Your sanctum sanctorum.
Resistance is futile.
Welcome.
This your first triumph. This is where the fun begins.
Proof positive that geeks have inherited the earth.
It's showtime.
It's time to get your geek on.
You complete me.
With Dave Gramillion.
Alrighty, welcome here everybody from San Antonio, Texas, coast to coast across the United States and points beyond. I am Dave Gramillion and welcome to Get Your Geek On, powered by the Texas Renaissance Festival. With over 650,000 people attending the event from September 29th through November 25th, get your tickets at texrenfest.com. This is the premier talk radio show for Star Wars, Star Trek, DC, Marvel, esports, really all things geek that have dominated this little world of ours. See, geek is not what it was 20 or 30 years ago. Geek is in. Geek is very in. Geek is now the mainstream, and we are here to talk the latest and greatest that is geek right here on Freedom 1160 Talk Radio and freedom1160.com. This is Season 3, Episode 12, and tonight we have a very special guest here in studio with us. The Morphinominal Expo is coming up next week, and we have the organizer, the founder, the creator, the Duchess of the Power Rangers herself. Kim will be joining us here shortly to talk about everything that is about the Morphinominal Expo. And that means more Power Rangers talk because the 25th anniversary was just on Tuesday and they released their big episode. That's right, a quarter century of Power Rangers. You feel old yet? So we're going to talk about that episode as well. And if we get the time, we'll talk about the movie sequel. Reboots? We'll see about that. And who turned down a cameo in the first movie? We'll talk about that as well. Coming up after the bottom half of the hour break, we have a big-time cast news for Star Wars Episode 9. Matt Smith is in, but who could he be? Who could he possibly be? We'll talk about that as well. And yes, we got to get into the Jacksonville shooting. It's old news by now. It's over a week old, and it's already been pushed out of the headlines. But we put a poll in the field not long after the attack, and we asked people if they were concerned for their safety and security going forward. 3,400 people responded in about 40 hours. We'll talk to you about the results of the poll, and we have exclusive comments and statements from the head of EVO, from the Public Relations Department of Wizard World, from Reed Pop, who does the PAX events and Star Wars Celebration, about safety and security at their events going forward. We got to get into this talk as well. So let's go ahead and kick things off here. If you look to my left, your right across the radio dial, Clickbait is going to be joining us a little later on. So we will introduce the man spinning the ones and zeros. He is our sound prognosticator. He is Goose.
We have top men working on it right now. Who? Top men.
Hello.
Hey, Goose, how you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
So you're our top men for the evening.
Apparently.
How many men are we talking about here? How many? Is it the voices in the head?
Something like that.
Very cool. All right. Well, let's go ahead and let's welcome in our very special guest. It's her first time here, which is great because we want to talk all things Morphinominal Expo. Let's welcome in Miss Kim. How you doing, Kim? How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Outstanding. Very cool. Well, welcome here. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
You having fun yet?
I am.
Very cool. What is the Morphinominal Expo? What is that?
So, Morphinominal Expo, guys, it's an event made by the fans for the fans. We created opportunity for kids and adults to meet some of their favorite child superheroes. I mean, still are superheroes for them.
Absolutely.
We put that on September 8th and 9th inside Wonderland of the Americas Mall.
Mm-hmm.
Free admission, free parking. We want you to be able to come in and just enjoy yourselves.
It's a free event. There's no cover charge, no nothing.
Free admission.
Free admission, okay. But if you want to go up and meet one of the Power Rangers, I'm sure that they'll probably charge for an autograph or photo op.
You
and
can
everything.
meet them. You can engage with them in their panels. Pictures, autographs, things like that. Of course, that's a charge.
Very cool. All right. So when did this start? When was the first Morphinominal Expo?
It was last year, September 2nd and 3rd of 2017.
So this is it. So what did you learn from that first year? Because the first year you do anything. I mean, there are always bumps and things you never expected that would happen. What did you learn from that year going into this year?
A lot. How to be more organized. How to obtain a good crew who will stay with you.
Alrighty, so you've got a good volunteer staff that's going to be helping out and all that fun stuff. So free admission, free parking, which is a blessing in this world.
It is. The community of San Antonio is very involved.
Outstanding. Okay, what was the one? What was like the biggest whoops that you had last year?
That's a hard one. Because everything ran smoothly.
Oh, very good. All right, well, that's a blessing.
That's not true. I mean, due to unforeseen circumstances, Hurricane Harvey.
Right.
And then the same weekend, we had a gas shortage.
That's true. That's true.
So,
thankfully, this year, not so much. Which is always good because I was looking through my Facebook memories. You know, you get those that pop up, and I was reading through. I posted the rainfall totals, and some counties got 53, 54 inches of rain. We actually held a small little fundraiser there, and we were able to raise some money for Hurricane Harvey relief. Thanks to the Morphinominal Expo for letting us kind of come in and take over a wing of the mall.
We did.
So we could do that. I was last second, but man, that was not a fun time for a lot of people. Now, what is your personal connection to the Power Rangers?
Personal connection. Well, growing up, I watched Power Rangers.
Yep. There we go.
But I wasn't the pink Power Ranger. I was the red Power Ranger.
Ooh, why was the red Power Ranger?
Because I just felt like it was not fair that only the girls could be pink and yellow.
All right, cool. Very cool.
They were a group of people saving the world. They were role models at school. They were examples in life. It was just something I wanted to be when I grew up.
It did kind of have a little bit of that Saved by the Bell vibe going on when they're in high school. You got Bulk and Skull, and, and they've got classes and tests and exams and all that fun stuff. The only thing they were missing was like Mr. Belding. That was the only thing they were missing.
Zordon.
Well, okay, you could call Zordon, I suppose, the Mr. Belding of the franchise. Did you see the movie also?
I did.
What'd you think of the movie?
I enjoyed it.
I mean, well, let me clarify. Okay. The new movie,
the
one
movie
with Elizabeth Banks as Rita Repulsa and all that.
I enjoyed the movie. I did. It was different. It was darker. It was something you wouldn't watch on Nickelodeon.
That's true. Yeah, when I think about a Power Rangers movie, I keep going back to the Turbo one.
The one that went straight to DVD.
The one that went straight to DVD. The one where they didn't even get into their Zords until like almost towards the end of the movie.
But that movie was in continuity. The other two aren't.
That's very true. Very true. Now the franchise has turned 25 years old, a quarter of a century of Power Rangers. In your expert opinion, in your humble expert opinion, what is the single best moment in the history of the franchise?
It would be the Forever Red.
Ooh, very nice. And why that one?
Because they had all the red. So Jason was there.
Yep.
And Tommy. Together.
And that was that the only time they were together, I think? Or is it one of the only?
No, they were together in Zeo when Jason was the Gold Ranger before that.
Right. And
also in the Turbo movie before that. But Wild Force Forever Red episode was the last time we've seen Jason in the Power Rangers universe.
Now, in your mind also, what is not exactly their finest hour? I mean, a lot of people make fun of the stunts and the acting and the choreography, but is there anything that jumps out to you where you're just like, really, guys, you really put that in there?
I mean, I enjoyed all the cheesiness of it. I did. The evil villains.
Rita coming out and the lips movement not quite matching and everything.
Well, there's a reason for that.
Yeah, well, that too. But the campiness, it has that almost an Adam West Batman-like campiness to it.
Yes.
And you think that was a good thing? You liked that?
I did like it.
Okay, very cool, very cool. But was there anything in there that you thought was just over the top, that just didn't work?
Well, looking back on it, I'm just like, wow, some of those moves
Not quite so much.
No, they're not cool.
And so what are some highlights then for the expo, for the Morphinominal Expo?
So you get to meet the celebrities.
Okay.
We actually added on 2 more.
Oh, okay. Did we get to announce who they are? Did we get to say that?
They've been announced.
Very cool.
So Michael Capone is back.
Okay, very good.
A lot of people didn't get to meet him the past year who wanted to come and didn't get to come. So they'll get to meet him again.
And Michael Capone is which ranger from which season?
Blue Time Force.
Blue Time Force?
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Alrighty. And so that's one. Who else do we have?
And then he's on Ninja still. He's like...
So a current one?
Yes, but he's not a ranger. He's like...
Oh, is it Mick?
No, it's Monty.
Oh, Monty. Okay, that'll be good.
All right, very cool. So we have a current ranger in-house.
Well, he's the human side character, comedy relief character.
That's true. Not a ranger, but someone on the show. Mm-hmm. Okay. Who else do we have?
So that's it for right now. Oh, and then... Ooh.
Okay, there we go.
Okay. And
Equipment
then we have...
malfunction.
And then we have Blake Foster, Turbo
Blue.
Turbo Blue, there we go.
We have Brendan Mejia, of course.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, right now, every kid's favorite ranger.
Dino Charge Red.
Very nice.
And then we also have an anime voice actor, Austin Tyndall.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yes.
And what was Austin in?
So he does a lot of voices for Funimation. A lot.
A lot of these voice actors tend to do that.
But one of the main ones, and it's my favorite, is Tokyo Ghoul.
Okay.
He's also from Attack on Titan.
Ah, okay. Very good.
He does Marco.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yes. And then we have Christopher Kamen Lee.
Space Red.
Very cool. And then there's going to be some type of an after party as well, so I hear.
We are having an after party.
What's that all about?
So, we have a really good friend who owns a few places, and he just loves putting on an after party for the Power Rangers. And then they come out. They all come. They enjoy themselves, and everybody can come. It's from 10 to 12 at Moses Roses.
Okay.
And then right across the street is another place that just opened up, and that'll be from midnight too.
So 2 after parties.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
nice.
All right, very cool. So 10 to 12 at Moses Roses, and then midnight you just walk across the street, and you just keep the party rolling.
Yes.
Very cool. And that'll be Saturday night?
Yes.
Okay, so Saturday night, that's the 2 after parties going on over there. All right, so here's the big question. I always like to leave, last question is always the fun question. So the hard part's over. You can breathe and relax and say, wow, I got through it.
Okay.
But if you could be any Power Ranger from any point in the franchise of the last 25 years, movie included, who would you be?
Okay. Not just because she's a dear friend of mine, but it would be Catherine Sutherland.
Ooh, okay. And why would that be?
When she took over, that's when I was like really into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just fell in love with her. And then I grew up, and now I'm friends with her.
Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. All right, outstanding.
So, for those who don't know, she took over from Amy Jo Johnson as Mighty Morphin Pink in season 3.
That would be
Zeo and then into Turbo.
That would be Get Your Geek On alumni, Amy Jo Johnson, A to the double J.
Yes,
as
indeed.
we interviewed her here on the show. We got to get her to come down sometime.
Yes.
Oh, that'd be fun. Amy Jo Johnson in the house. Ooh, that'd be good stuff. All right, so let's talk about the 25th anniversary of the show. Now, Goose, you caught the episode on Tuesday.
I did.
And you told me that you had one really hot opinion about this, and that opinion was?
Tommy is OP as heck.
Really?
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
Hey, watch the language here, pal. We're on FCC radio.
We are. That's why I used heck.
All right, so what do you mean by OP?
So when we first see Tommy, what's that? OP stands for overpowered.
Ah, okay.
Overpowered. It's a gaming term. So I'm going to lead in with the good, because it was a good episode. It was on a Tuesday night, not a Saturday morning.
Okay.
But it was only half an hour. We had 16 Rangers and you had half an hour. What the heck is that?
Yikes.
But the ones they brought back were really fan favorites.
Okay.
So Tommy, Kat, TJ, Antonio, Wes, and Gia from Megaforce.
Okay.
Coda from Dino Charge.
But you had to squeeze them all into this.
Had to squeeze them all in. Rocky. First time we've seen Rocky in an anniversary episode.
With commercials, that's like
21 minutes or so.
Wow.
But see, it became the Tommy Oliver show pretty quick. the first scene of the show is Tommy. And he's getting back from the dojo, going in. And Tommy has a son called JJ, by the way.
An actual son or an in-show son?
An in-show son.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And by the way, in December, Boom Studios put out a comic called Soul of the Dragon.
Okay.
Where an older Tommy's having to deal with that. Oh, yeah, Gemma from RPM was in there, too. And so they had 10 Rangers and the 6 Ninja Steel Rangers.
God.
Yeah. And they have to go to a different dimension to fight the bad guy who wants to basically destroy all the Ranger dimensions, of which there are at least 3 Ranger dimensions. Dino Charge is in one dimension, RPM's in one dimension, and then all the rest of them are in one, at least in one more dimension that we know of.
I hope you're all taking notes at home. There will be a quiz afterwards.
But see, the first time we see Tommy Oliver, it is as the Dino Thunder Black Ranger.
Wait. You mean the first time we see him?
The first time we see him in Ranger form. So the second time we see him.
So he goes into different Ranger forms?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
So this was the first time.
They didn't know that the Black Dino Thunder Ranger can turn invisible.
So he was able to turn invisible and beat half an army by himself.
By himself. Uh-huh.
So, and that's because he has...
The Master Morpher?
He has a Master Morpher.
A Master Morpher.
Yes, he can go to any one of his previous Ranger forms, including...
It's Morphin' time! Steel Ranger 5! Red! Tiger Zord! White Ranger power! Dragon Zord! Green Ranger power! White Ranger power!
This is all one guy?
One guy.
Yep,
Holy cow.
One guy, and he can even call the Falcon Zord from Season 3. Which, by the way, I didn't realize that Zords could cross worlds, let alone dimensions.
Well, apparently they can. If you're Tommy, apparently they can.
And that Falcon Zord with CGI as all get out. The wings flapped. I never saw that Zord wings flap one time in Season 3.
They did now.
I did now. And so basically Tommy saved the day. Everybody else was his support cast.
Look, Kim, you saw the episode, right? What did you think? Was it a fitting 25th anniversary episode?
Well,
Quarter century?
Tommy's evil. He creates a Ranger army to take over the universe.
That sounds...
It was a robot Tommy, but still.
So Tommy is Tommy versus Tommy, essentially.
So are you familiar with the Shattered Grid comics?
I am not actually. Goose may be more into that side than I am.
Yes, it was kind of a weird little takeoff of that.
So all right. So we're here with Kim from the Morphinominal Expo, which, by the way, is next weekend. So it's 6 days away. Essentially, it's Saturday and Sunday, or is it Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Saturday, Sunday.
So Saturday, Sunday down at the Wonderland Mall of the Americas. Let's talk also a little bit here about the Power Rangers movie. Before we get into that, though, I want to tell you also about Dragon's Lair over at Alamo Ranch. Yes, indeed. Dragon's Lair at Alamo Ranch is a really fun place to be. I was just there this past weekend. So many events going on at Dragon's Lair Alamo Ranch. You have they have a D&D night. They have different tournaments going on. In addition to all the comics, graphic novels, little plush figures, and everything that you could possibly want. It's over there off of 1604 and 151. Our friends at Dragon's Lair Alamo Ranch. Now, Hasbro, they have the rights back, and they said that they will work with a film studio on a new movie. However, the first one, which didn't make a lot of money, it had like a $100 million budget. I think it made like $140 million, which is not all that good in Hollywood world. That was with Lionsgate, but Hasbro has a contract with Paramount. So a lot of people are speculating that we might not get a sequel to the movie. We may get instead a reboot done in the Hasbro vision. Kim, let me ask you, because you talked about the campiness and then the corniness and the what I call the Six Flags stunt show version of the Power Rangers. Would you rather see a movie done in that style or a sequel done in the style of the first one?
That's a hard one. I think it would be the second one for me.
You think so? Yeah, I'm kind of that way too. I mean, we've had those movies. I mean, like Power Rangers, the original movie, the Power Rangers Turbo movie, where it was that campy corniness. But there's something about that new movie that just felt a little more real to me.
They used real life issues that are now.
Yes, and it's one of the first movies that I can recall in a long time that had somebody who was on the spectrum as a major main character. Mm-hmm. He was the heart and soul of the Rangers.
Let's face it, Billy and Mighty Morphin was on the spectrum for the first 2 seasons.
Well, that may be, but so But the entire franchise is basically one soft reboot after another. Every time they switch Zords, every time they switch dimensions, it's just a soft reboot.
Well, when they change the cast, it's kind of a hard reboot, isn't it?
Well, but it's the same thing. It's the same concept, just with new actors and new Zords. I mean, let's face it. Do they ever really change the show?
Still teenagers.
It's still teenagers. They're still in Zords. They still do the kung fu fighting. They're fast as lightning. This is a little bit frightening. I mean, did they ever really change it?
The formula is the same.
Right. So it's basically, it's a soft reboot after soft reboot. I would much prefer that we get a true sequel, because I think those kids deserve another movie.
They do. But see, there's a lot of people who don't agree with that either.
That's kind of sad. That's kind of sad because, well, while they are entitled to their opinion, and of course a lot of them are hardcore fans, it's my show, so my opinion's right, and theirs is not.
I agree.
But it not only did it feel more real, but I just liked so much about that movie. The story, the plot, the writing, the acting, the special effects, and even they threw in the little bit of the Power Rangers theme right there at the end. Which was
very nice.
It was very nice. And then we learned about this also. So in researching for the show, getting ready, I found out that James Van Der Beek was offered a cameo in the movie, and he turned it down. Actually, he was told by the director, it's like, dude, no. His agent was kind of pushing him that way, and the director said, no, don't do it. We didn't want to distract too much. They already had a couple of other cameos in there, including Get Your Geek On alum Amy Jo Johnson. James Van Der Beek was actually in the fan film, if you recall the Power Rangers
adult fan film?
The adult one where he was all PTSD and wanted to kind of kill everybody and whatnot. I thought it would have been kind of cool to have him in there. Of course, I'm a James Van Der Beek fan. So.
Katie Sackhoff's in that too.
She is actually, yes. She plays one of the Rangers.
I forget who.
I think it's Kimberly also, but I don't want to go on air and then have somebody, call us up or email us and be like, it wasn't Kimberly, I'm telling you, I know who it was. But so James Van Der Beek actually turned down a cameo in the first movie. What do you think? Would that have been fun to see James Van Der Beek?
Not really, because he doesn't have a tie to Power Rangers outside of that fan film.
It's outside of the fan film, but yeah, it would have been fun. Again, a cameo wouldn't have been too bad. Would it?
Yeah, it would have taken away from it a little bit.
What do you think was the best part about that movie, other than James Van Der Beek not being in it?
What's the favorite part about every Power Rangers episode? The kaiju fight. Come on, man.
The big robot battle at the end, right? Isn't that what we're all building up for? Isn't that what we're all waiting for? Is the big robot battle at the end?
Our Zords.
All the Zords and everything. What do you think? What was the best part about the movie?
It was nice seeing the Mama Zord.
Yeah,
as he called it.
That was a good one.
I really liked how they used Dunkin', not Dunkin' Donuts. Oh my god!
No, it was Krispy Kreme.
It was
Krispy Kreme. Yes, the product placement was pretty blatant.
The product placement is strong with this one.
It's like Ghostbusters, where you see all the Papa John's and Coke placements, and it's like, wow, we get it. You're a Sony movie. Move on already. For me, I think the first moment that really grabbed me was when they're in the van and they're fleeing the cops essentially from the quarry. Yeah. And you're like, okay, here comes the train. They're going to beat the train just in time. And they're going to be like, whew, man, we got away with that one. And then wham, they get hit by the train. And they just go flying. And I'm like, okay, I didn't expect that. And that's when the movie grabbed me. Before then, it was kind of okay. I was digging what they were doing, but that's when it grabbed me. I love that moment. I thought it was pretty cool.
I legit cried when Blue died.
Aww.
When who died?
When Billy.
Oh.
Died.
Yeah, when Rita killed him.
Yeah.
When Rita killed, me putting air quotes.
Yeah.
Rita
you
killed
haven't
him.
cried until you've seen Transformers, the animated movie, for the first time.
The 1986 movie?
Yeah, the 1986 movie.
Have you seen that one?
No.
Oh.
Okay, that's legit traumatic right there.
It is. Okay. It's legit.
Or
I'll go home and watch it.
There you go. Like Never Ending Story.
Okay.
Did you ever see that one?
No.
You haven't seen Never Ending Story? Okay.
Man.
Okay, we got to have like a movie night.
Bring the tissues and enjoy the cry fest.
Yeah. Never Ending Story will make you cry more than Transformers will. Guaranteed.
Okay.
That's like we can put a big old guaranteed stamp on that. You watch Never-Ending Story.
I'm a big emotional crier, so.
Okay. Then bring boxes of tissues.
We may have to live stream that on Twitch. That TV/GYGO_official.
Yes. Oh, that would be fun. That would be fun. Yeah, we got to have like a movie night or something.
By the way, Fathom Events. Not that we can go because it's on a show night, but they're doing Transformers the movie in theaters.
They are. That's right. And somebody's doing 2001 in IMAX. I forgot who it is.
Been there. I did that in 8th grade.
Well, yeah, but they're bringing it back now, so that's always good news. But yeah, no, trust me, Never-Ending Story.
Okay.
It's about 25 minutes in when that moment hits. I don't want to spoil it.
25 to 45, somewhere in there.
So somewhere in there.
I haven't seen that movie in like 5, 6, 7 years.
I haven't seen it about 5, 6, 7 weeks, I think. I finally showed it to Beth. My wife Beth hadn't seen it at all. And so I sat down and watched her, and it was like, it's the feels. Pack your bags. You're going on a fields trip. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So that's Kim from Morphinominal Expo. That'll be next weekend, the Wonderland Mall of the Americas. Coming up after the bottom half of the hour news break here. We got some Star Wars news. We want to talk about Matt Smith being cast. And we got to get into the Jacksonville shooting and the fallout and the aftermath. We'll be right back here on Freedom 1160 and freedom1160.com. All right, welcome back from the bottom of the hour news break. This is Get Your Geek On Freedom 1160 Talk Radio and freedom1160.com. Powered by the Texas Renaissance Festival. With over 650,000 people attending the event from September 29th, which is right around the corner, all the way through November 25th. Get your tickets now at texrenfest.com. I'm Dave Gramillion, and if you missed the first half of our show, you missed our in-house guest, Kim Rabago, who was in here talking about all things Morphinominal Expo, which is next weekend down at the Wonderland Mall of the Americas, where they will have 4 rangers in-house that you can meet, free admission, free parking.
4 rangers and a human comedy relief from the current season of Ninja Steel.
Absolutely. So that was a lot of fun. A great interview. Loved having her in. We also talked about the 25th anniversary show, and we talked about the movie and whether or not there will be a reboot or a sequel, and why James Van Der Beek turned down a cameo in the first movie. Love that movie. It was really a great film. If you want to listen to all of that, all of our interviews, all of our shows, all of our breaking news, opinions, the whole 9 yards, you can check out our award-winning podcast. It is the best podcast in San Antonio. Don't take our word for it. It was voted on by the readers of San Antonio Magazine for 2017. We're number 1, and you can find it on iTunes, Omni, Stitcher, and the Google Play app. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and kick off the second half of the news. This is going to be a little interesting because we've got some Star Wars and a little Doctor Who news kind of blended in there.
I'm looking forward to completing your training. In time, you will call me Master.
It's just a jump to the left. Put your hands on your hips.
Alrighty, so the reason why we're talking about this is in part thanks to our friends over at the Heroes and Villains of Cosplay. That's the guys over at Havoc. You know, they just had an event recently where it was, I mean, we say event and you think of, you know, this big extravaganza sort of a thing. And no, it was just a bunch of them hanging out together, playing tabletop games over at Night Watch. And that's really what they're all about at their center. They're a bunch of geeks who love to get together and hang out and have fun and cosplay for charity and volunteer their time together. And they're a great bunch of people to hang out with. That's our friends over at the Heroes and Villains of Cosplay. All right, so the reason why we played those two things back to back is because we have a big-time casting news. So says Variety. So it's not StarWars.com, I understand that, but Variety is a really good source. They're very, very reliable. So we'll roll with it and say that Matt Smith, the former Doctor from Doctor Who, has now been cast in episode 9. Now, here's the thing. there's one bit of this announcement that really started to get me burning a little bit. And it said, quote, this is right out of the article. It's unknown at this time whether the Doctor Who alum will be on the side of the rebels or the evil empire.
I know if they call him Raggedy, I'm going to just laugh.
Well, I joke that at some point he should look up and say, you know what, ties are cool. TIE fighters are cool because he did the whole bow tie thing. But no, let me read that again.
I wear helmets now. Helmets are cool.
Helmets are cool. So listen to this again. Quote, it's unknown at this time whether the Doctor Who alum will be on the side of the rebels or the evil empire. Variety, let me write your articles for you, please, because first of all, there are no rebels. They're the resistance. And secondly, there is no evil empire. They're the First Order. The Empire was gone as of 1983. Okay? Come on, guys. Get it together, will you?
It's almost like people who report on this stuff sometimes don't know what they're talking about.
I know.
It's crazy.
And that's a shame is what it is. That's why you come to us instead of Variety. The rebels or the evil empire. What, are you kidding me here?
You're saying when it comes to fan service, I rebel.
Yeah. Oh boy. So that right there, I had to move past that. But man, I was like, really, guys, come on now. Now the big question is for someone of his stature. I mean, this is an Emmy Award winning, huge actor. Mm-hmm. He's in The Crown, Doctor Who. He's been in a number of things. And
Terminator Genesis,
big screen, small screen, Netflix, the whole bit. Who's he going to be? Nobody knows. But come on, he's British. He's got to be a villain, right?
He's a First Order Doctor.
He's a first.
Oh gosh, that would be amazing.
Say, Doctor, we need to see the Doctor.
Doctor.
That would be amazing.
Doctor Who.
Oh, I hope not.
Wow.
So who played? Who played Phasma again?
That's Gwendolyn Christie.
Okay, so because of that, it really makes me worried that they're going to waste this opportunity of having an actor of that stature.
Yeah, it makes me
here.
See, and a lot of people said, what if they do what they did with Daniel Craig? Mm-hmm. Daniel Craig, who played 007, he's our current, for the time being, 007.
Yeah.
And he had a cameo in The Force Awakens. He was the stormtrooper that was there with Rey when she was all chained up and everything. And that was more tongue-in-cheek. He was just like, hey, I just want a bit part, that sort of thing. He wasn't cast in the movie.
Did they even
was
announce?
uncredited, too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I don't think they made a huge announcement like Daniel Craig's in the movie. I think it was after the fact they went, oh, that was Daniel Craig.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think Matt Smith will have a role I don't think it'll be a cameo either. Maybe it's a minor role, but I think that it's going to be beyond a cameo. You don't drop a bomb like this if it's going to be something minor. If it's going to be something like a 15-second, hey, there he is in the background of that one scene. He's the fourth guy from the left in the crowd.
No.
He's not going to be that.
Definitely. Especially because, it doesn't seem like that would be a cameo they would even announce if it's like something, one, you don't announce cameos, and two, it's from a totally different fandom. It's not like the Star Wars fandom.
Right.
I understand they intersect, but I don't think anyone's like, yes, I've always wanted to see someone from Doctor Who in Star Wars.
Well, there are some.
Really?
David Tennant was in Harry Potter. So
yeah, but that makes sense.
Speaking of,
just because David Tennant looks like he belongs in Harry Potter.
Well, that's true.
Speaking of, David Tennant's coming to Wizard World Austin later on in the month.
Yes, he is. They dropped that bomb, didn't they?
So we've got 2 doctors so far.
And our guest next week, by the way, will be Jerry Milani, the PR director for Wizard World, to kind of preview all things Wizard World Austin. All right, but it makes sense. I mean, I know he can do an American accent. I've heard David Tennant do an American accent, Matt Smith, Simon Pegg. I get it. They can do the American accent, which is kind of just a lack of an accent altogether. But Matt Smith's British. He's got to be a villain. He's got to be some type of an officer villain with the First Order. Come on.
I can definitely see that because what is it? The actor's name's escaping me, but Finn.
John Boyega.
John Boyega is...
He's British.
Yeah, and they're like, you're not a bad guy, so you have to sound American in the movie.
The entire Empire, First Order, whatever is British.
Yeah.
That's true. Now, you have to keep in mind, British people are typecast. If you're British, you're a high-up villain of some type. If you're German, you're a mad scientist. If you're an American, you're a gun crazy, shoot first, shoot second, shoot third, ask questions later stereotype.
You don't believe us? Ask Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I thought of Tom Hiddleston and then the actor who plays Zola in the Captain America movies.
Dr. Zola, yeah.
I can't remember the actor's name.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then that's the stereotype. So because he's British, he has to be some type of high up first order officer. I'm not sure.
Definitely.
Some people are speculating he's going to be a Snoke clone. If they go the clone route, I may walk out. I may walk out if they do that. I kid you not. Let me say this. I've never liked the idea of Snoke to begin with. I thought the character, when it first was announced, I thought the name was fake. I thought it was a cover, and I was very disappointed in J.J. Abrams to learn it was real.
Yeah.
Secondly, man, if they go the clone route, I may walk out of that movie. I'm so sick. It is such a cheap cop-out. It is such lazy writing. It to just go, ha, you thought you killed the real me, but you did. That is laziness incarnate. If they do that, I may walk out.
But what if it's a Palpatine clone?
If they do any clones, if they do any clones, I may walk out.
What if? Because my thought is, what if they're going to get rid of Hux, and then he's like a replacement general for Hux? Because obviously Kylo and Hux haven't gotten along that whole time.
Not even a little bit.
And now Kylo's in charge.
You mean Hugs?
General Hugs? Yeah. No, I'm still holding. Yeah, I'm waiting for General Hugs. Hello. that part of The Last Jedi was actually kind of funny. I did like that.
Yeah.
That part that was pretty good.
That's amazing.
Little witty banter, like in Force Awakens when Poe is first captured and he's brought before Kylo Ren. And he goes, "So who talks first? I talk, you talk. How does this work? I don't know."
That whole first scene's amazing, just because like it sets up how threatening Kylo is, and then how fun and almost like he doesn't care Poe is.
The opening scene for that mirrors almost identically the opening scene to A New Hope.
Definitely.
Almost identically. Because if you think about it, it's this small band of not quite helpless, defenseless people fighting off these stormtroopers. Who shows up after the fighting's done but a guy in black who goes on to interrogate somebody and kill them.
Definitely. And for me, he came off as 10 times more just of a force than I feel Darth Vader did in that scene, just because the way that whole scene was filmed. And I think that could also just be because of the technology that we have now and the way things are filmed differently now. But definitely.
So we don't know who he's going to. We honestly don't know. Nobody knows. I feel confident in saying that it's not going to be a cameo. It could be a small role. It certainly could be. There's plenty of time to figure all this out going forward. And since nobody's leaking anything to me, then, oh well, it is what it is.
What if he's Kyle Katarn?
No. I don't think they're going to. At this late in the game, you're going to introduce a major character like Kyle Katarn?
He was one of Luke's students, and he escaped the purge that Kylo Ren did.
We never learned what happened to the Knights of Ren, which is another dropped ball, by the way. Thank you, JJ.
I hope they don't do the thing where like all third movies do, where in the third movie they're like, oh, well, actually, here's a bunch of backstory that we didn't explain anywhere else.
They didn't do that in Return of the Jedi?
No, well, I'm saying I don't want it to fall into that trope that third movies do.
Well, Return of the Jedi, what they spent their time was just confirming what we already knew from Empire.
Yeah, definitely.
That whole Yoda scene, really, you could throw that out entirely. Yeah. Because it's like, yeah, we get it. He's the dad. We get it.
It was straight up Episode 5 exposition.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so let's go ahead and roll on. We've got to talk about this Jacksonville news in the time that we have left. So let's go ahead and slide on over to some video game talk. Speaking of the Texas Ren Fest, this segment is brought to you by our friends over that way. It's just outside of Houston to the northwest side. And this event's going to be a lot of fun. It's right around the corner. It's at the end of this month. So it starts September 29th, goes through November 25th. Children get in free on Sundays. If they're, I believe it's 12 and under, get in free on Sundays. Themed weekends. Every weekend is going to have a different theme to it. This is the Renaissance Festival to go to. It's the largest in North America. Of course, it makes sense. It's Texas. And hopefully by September 29th, when they kick this thing off, it will not be 114,000 degrees outside. Nice breeze going on. I can't speak for what the humidity will be like since it's near Houston, but yeah, that's okay. We can deal with that. So you want to be sure to check out Tex Renfest. That's TEXRenfest.com. Get your tickets, get on out there, and have a fantastic time at the Texas Renaissance Festival. Okay, so Jacksonville Madden shooting. Let's go ahead and get into this. It's old news by now. It happened last week. There was a Madden 2019 tournament. Somebody lost. From what reports say, it was a close game. The guy lost. Very upset. Very disgruntled. He was a top-ranked player, so this was not a good defeat for him. So he goes out to his car, comes back in, and starts shooting up the place. Great. That's fantastic. It's cowardly. It's disgusting. There's nothing that I can say that hasn't already been said about the shooting itself. And our heartfelt thoughts and prayers go out to anyone who was affected by this in the gaming community. That being said, we started to look ahead and say, so what does this mean for the future? Because if you'll recall, last year, the Phoenix Comic-Con had an incident as well where a fan smuggled in multiple guns, knives, and ninja throwing stars. I kid you not. He was trying to kill Jason David Frank, take out as many other people as he possibly could, and dare the cops to shoot him.
So, and obviously we're talking about security, but what I wanted to point out is at least the conventions that we've seen or that I've been to recently are usually very good about security.
They are.
They take it very seriously. I don't want to particularly say which convention, but I was at a convention where there was a gentleman there who had something that he shouldn't have had in there. And the convention, the people there were very quick to identify it and make sure the proper steps were taken.
Now, the Phoenix Comic-Con attack happened at the same time as Alamo City was going on.
Yeah.
And so they immediately said they talked to Homeland Security, they talked to the FBI and the SAPD, and they said no bags. Total bag ban, and we tried our hardest to get the word out so that people didn't bring a bag all the way down to the convention center, only to bring it all the way back,
or have to
back to
throw
their car,
it away,
or have to throw it away entirely. So, we try to spread the word about that as we can. So we put a poll in the field, and we did this on our Facebook page, facebook.com/GYGO Radio, and we asked people, are you more concerned now about safety and security, or do you think, nah, we're doing just fine, don't worry about it, no big deal? 3,400 people voted in about 40 hours. This poll was white hot. People were sounding off on this left, right, and center. Here's the results. 49%. 49. This was extremely close. 49% said that they were more concerned. Definitely concerned about their safety and security going forward. 51% said, nope, we're doing just fine. So this wasn't lopsided. This wasn't like 70-30 where they said, nah, we're good, don't worry about it, everything's fine. This is almost half the people who voted. Almost half said that they were definitely concerned. That was the option. Yes, definitely concerned about their safety and security at these cons. So I reached out through the contacts that I have, and we were able to get statements from head organizers of major conventions. Now, Alamo City Comic-Con, they declined to comment. They're going to put out their own statement. They didn't want to give us something exclusive, and that's cool. That's fine. No problem. They put out their own statement saying that safety and security is paramount to them, and they're always working with Homeland Security, the FBI, SAPD, and Alamo Dome Security, and so on. So that's no problem. So here's what the Evo, he's described himself as the head honcho. Joey Cuellar said, quote, while Evo, and these are the guys who put on the fighting game tournament, Street Fighter and all that stuff. While Evo does not comment on security procedures, for obvious reasons, it's very clear that we need to be proactive for 2019 and beyond. The amount of undercover law enforcement at Evo was unprecedented, and we will be installing metal detectors for all days next year. So there you go. Security is going to start to increase. That means lines are going to back up. It's going to be harder to get in, harder to get out. We reached out and heard from Jerry Milani, the PR director over at Wizard World. And he said, quote, we continue to prioritize security at our events, working with the venue as well as our internal team to find the best solutions at each of our shows. Weapons checks, scanners, metal detectors are part of the program, with each center providing its own set of challenges. Keep in mind, they do a dozen or so Comic-Cons a year all across the nation. So each building, he's right, does present its own issues. If you want to address individual concerns, you can reach out to them, customer care at wizardworld.com, and they'll be more than happy to talk to you about any concerns you might have. Then I heard from Brian Reinert over at ReedPop. ReedPop are the organizers for some of your favorite events like PAX West, East, Prime, South, the whole bit, and Star Wars Celebration, which, by the way, is held in Chicago next spring. Yeah, Chicago. He said, quote, "The safety of our attendees, exhibitors, and staff is paramount to ReedPop and Penny Arcade. As PAX has grown in popularity, we have responded with the addition of increased private security, law enforcement, and other personnel, each of whom are on site at all times during our events. I found this very interesting. Quote, "We have in place extensive proactive measures, some that are visible and many that are not. We are always working to improve our security plans and, if need be, to adjust them to ensure that we are doing all we can to make our events a safe and secure environment for the community." That's interesting. That's an interesting look behind the curtain there. So these guys are on top of it. They're already reviewing things. I'm sure that they're talking to EA regarding the Jacksonville incident, what went wrong, how could it have been prevented, and so on and so forth. But I think going forward, we can expect to see metal detectors at every con.
Definitely. And
every con.
Do you think personally, do you feel like that's worth it to ensure that we're safe? Because if it's different, because for a while, Comic-Cons were very much like, the nerd community and that very specific kind of sect of people. Now they're such family-oriented events. There's people from all walks of life are there.
I'm okay with metal detectors provided they are well-staffed.
Definitely.
Do not give me 2 lines to go through. I mean, good God. Trying to can you imagine if like a Comic Palooza? Yeah, Goose is already rolling. His eyes are rolling in the back of his head. Well, there were 2 lines worth there at Comic Palooza, and the line stretched back like to the Harris County line.
Something like that. Now, there's one we went to last year that I'm not going to say the name of that also became a pain because you could only go in and out. You could only go in one door, but you could go out several.
That's right.
And again, that will remain unnamed.
And like you could hold the door open and people could go in.
Right, but but when you went out one door, you had to go through the one entrance back in.
Right.
So if you let that door shut, you were in trouble. And we were doing interviews and stuff, not on the floor. We went out to a hallway.
Yeah.
We couldn't get back in without going through the main entrance.
The very long line to get
I'm not
in.
sure if it's the same convention, but I've been to similar conventions where then you have to go through a security thing to even get back in. Okay, we're probably talking about the same thing.
I'm okay with the metal detectors. I'm okay with bag checks. I think, and the thing about bag checks, though, you have some security guards that just like look in one pocket. They're like, whatever, go on. And you've got some that want you to pull everything out of every pocket.
Yeah.
I want consistency in my bag checks.
Definitely.
I do not want a bag ban. Yeah. I don't want them at any convention. And I'm speaking for myself here because from a show perspective, man, we bring in a lot of equipment.
Yeah, well,
we've got mics and cameras and all sorts of things that go along with that.
Yeah,
but if you're a geek attending one of these cons, you want a bag. You're going to buy stuff. You're going to get. Everybody's giving out pamphlets and free swag and pens and all that. You want to stick it somewhere. You got to have a bag.
Definitely. The biggest thing is that then becomes a detriment to all your exhibitors who are being loyal to that convention and helping out and everything. And I'm sure the conventions work that out and do what they feel is going to be the best possible course of action for that.
The weird thing is that some of those vendors actually sell the bags. They sell bags inside, like the bag of holding you get from ThinkGeek. Well, if you buy that bag and you take it back to the hotel, you can't bring it back in.
Yeah. My thing is, can you even have, like, are they going to say, oh, you can't sell backpacks in the convention, or you can't sell these at the convention now?
I don't know if they're going to go that route or not.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on if there's another incident or another attack at some point. But I have no problem with the metal detectors provided it's staffed well. Bag checks, fine. I no problem with that. Don't ban them. I mean, make them clear. I don't care if it's a clear bag or if you say they got to be tote bags so they're easily open. I don't care.
Yeah.
Just don't ban them altogether.
Definitely.
I know with my media stuff, getting that in a clear case of some kind is very difficult to do.
That's true,
but they don't make a lot of clear cases for this stuff.
But it's better than no bag at all.
That's true.
That's true.
So that's kind of my 2 cents on things. I think we will definitely see increased security. I think we will, and I'm okay with extra officers. I'm okay with extra security being around. What concerns me are these lines. The Star Wars Celebration, the last one they had, which was, I believe, in Orlando, was a nightmare getting in and out.
Definitely.
You had people waiting 4, 5, 6 hours just to get in the building. And that was, part of it was the organization was just not that good. And part of it was these added security measures that are slowing everything down.
I think the biggest thing, no matter what the cons decide to do and what procedures they have to do, is attendees of the con have to be understanding and understand that that's all there for like their safety.
Oh, and absolutely. I mean, it's a post 9/11 world that we live in, and these things are becoming way too prevalent. And believe me, I'm the first person to say safety above all.
Definitely.
Yes. But there's also got to be some common ground there.
Indeed, there does have to be.
So yeah, hey, when there's some news about the DC Universe app, I know
yes,
we have a little bit of time left.
It is
here,
coming
Goose.
out in September 15th, actually.
That's quick.
Is when it launches live, and then we'll talk more about that after we get out of Morphinominal Expo and Wizard World Talk, because Titans doesn't come out until October, so you're gonna have like 3 to 4 weeks of just playing with the library, checking it out before the original stuff hits. They haven't announced a release date for Young Justice yet, to the best of my knowledge. But Batman Day just became DC Universe Day.
Yeah. I'm excited about watching Wonder Woman, because that's also going to be on the service.
You can watch that on Netflix.
Yeah, but like because the Linda Carter one.
Not the Linda Carter
Linda
series.
Carter series.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Linda Carter series.
Yeah, I'm sure you're excited to watch Wonder Woman.
I'm very excited to watch Wonder Woman.
What? I'm sorry. Which one?
Wonder Woman.
The Linda Carter Wonder Woman. That's Wonder Woman. There we go.
Like how you were riffing there to give him an opportunity to get there.
I was like, stretch it,
Yeah,
wait for it.
I could just hear Goose in the background, like just going, where is it?
It's in the library somewhere. I know it is. It had to be in there somewhere. Okay, alrighty. So yeah, so very, very fitting. I love they just announced the DC Universe app. It seemed like just a month ago. Wasn't it like the beginning of August they announced that?
No, they've announced it for a while,
ago.
but they actually opened it up to pre-order in August, which I did, by the way.
Very cool. All right. So that'll wrap it up here for Goose, for Alex, and for myself. I want to thank our sponsors, the Texas Renaissance Festival, Dragon's Lair Alamo Ranch, the Heroes and Villains of Cosplay, and the Mailing Spot. I also want to thank everybody out there for listening. Don't forget to check out our award-winning podcast on iTunes, Omni, Stitcher, and the Google Play app. And make sure to get your geek on every single day.